ni then Secretary Remulla, now Ombudsman, na magre-restitute sila. So, doon yata na-stall ang pinag-uusapan. Ngayon, ang pagkakaalam ko rin po, Mr. Chair, si Yusek Bernardo, parang he was already granted provisional, anong tawag doon?
Provisional admission, Mr. Chair.
So, if he was granted already provisional admission, was he required to restitute anything?
Sir, that is covered by the Memorandum of Agreement and is confidential. I cannot make that disclosure without any clearance from the Secretary of Justice.
Why?
Because the law provides for it, sir, that confidentiality is a matter which is stressed in Section 7 of the law.
So, Mr. Chair, ito na naman ang problema eh. Para malaman naman ng kahit sinong gustong mag-apply, kung ano ba requirements talaga. Was that restitution requirement covered by that? Yun lang naman eh. There's nothing secret in that. Ba't hindi mo sabihin?
Sir, it is contained in the Memorandum of Agreement.
Like nobody should know that a restitution was required by the Department of Justice?
The details of the Memorandum of
I'm not
Agreement.
asking for details. Sabihin mo lang, was it made a requirement?
Restitution is part of the details, sir, which is provided for in any Memorandum of Agreement if you're going to ask me. So if it is going
Bago
to
siya
be
makapag-apply, restitution will be required.
Not necessarily, sir. Not
paano?
necessarily.
Ito kailangan sabihin ko, palagi kasing sinasabi ng mga ibang tao, I am trying to defend the Discayas. No, I am trying to maintain what the law says and provides. Dahil alam ko na wala namang sinasabing restitution, gusto naman nilang magpa-cover para sa ganun, may protection naman sila because they are aiding the state to prosecute kung sino-sino may kasalanan dito. Bakit hindi natin i-apply ang batas? Ngayon, sinasabi mo na naman, tinatanong ko lang, may restitution applied to Yusek Bernardo. He was granted already provisional admission. Ba't hindi mo maibigay man lang yun? There is nothing secret in that. Otherwise, pero meron kayong paborito, merong hindi. Parang namimili kayo. It is a selective process.
May I respond, Mr. Chair?
Yes, you may respond.
Again, we take exception to the statement of the good senator that we are being selective. The process of application.
Yun ang ginagawa
the process
mo,
of application, sir.
Selective application of the law. Sinasabi natin walang requirement ang restitution. Will you agree?
I agree, sir. It is not explicitly stated in the law. It is not explicitly stated in the law, but
It is not explicitly stated in the law, but you're requiring them to restitute.
no, sir. Let me just explain, if you will allow me to finish. There is no explicit provision in the law calling for restitution. However, there is a memorandum of agreement whereby terms and conditions can be stated therein. And if there is agreement as to restitution,
Alam mo, yung
the same can
memorandum
be
of
included.
agreement, hindi siya kasamang restitution. Yung pagka siya ay na-admit na as state witness, kaya mo lamang siya lalagyan ng memorandum so that he can cooperate with the DOJ in prosecuting this case.
Precisely,
Huwag mong
sir.
iisipin na i-include mo yun sa memorandum. You are debating from the law itself.
There is no deviation, sir.
Sabihin mo sa akin kung anong provision that the memorandum will require restitution.
There is nothing in the law, again, which states
Ito
that...
yung problema ninyo. Palagi kayong ganyan kung makipag...
No, sir, we're being very candid with the
and sasabihin nyo
committee.
take exception. Kayo ang nagte-take exception. Pati batas binabago ninyo.
No, sir. If the Discaya couple would want to be admitted, all they have to do is go through the same process. But it's not a matter only of...
Pumunta na sila.
Yes, sir. But they have not...
Alam mo, si Secretary Boying Remulla ang nandito. Nag-usap pa sila dito. Okay? Sabi niya sa mag-asawa, Mr. Discaya, sige, bukas na bukas, isama mo yung asawa mo, magkikita tayo sa din. Nandito pumunta siya rito. Kaya ang palagay ko noon, ipo-process. Processing lang naman. If they will not qualify, okay lang sa akin yun. But, hindi nga sila natuloy sa process because they were required. Restitution. Kaya ang nakikita ko dito, merong blocking. Di ba? Napakasimple na pinag-uusapan natin, Prosecutor Papadulyon. Huwag na nating i-complicate ito. We apply this law to everybody. Ngayon, tinatanong ko lang, okay lang naman kung qualified si Yusek Bernardo. I have nothing against Yusek Bernardo. Okay lang. Tinatanong ko lang, para yung application ng batas, parehas lang. So, halimbawa, kung wala namang restitution si Yusek Bernardo, why will you apply restitution to these people?
Sir, we did not... That was a statement made by former Secretary Remulla. When they were referred to the Department of Justice for processing, it was because there was a legislative inquiry which was going on, and the Discaya couple, during the time that they were testifying, stated that they wanted to be provided security and protection. Immediately after they went to the department, said security and protection was provided to them without any consideration yet as to their application into the program. The evaluation for purposes of being considered in the program is a different process which has not been completed. That is the reason why they have not yet been considered as possible state witnesses in the
It was
cases which are
never
pending.
completed because you were insisting on restitution. Drop it. Para sa ganun, kung mag-a-apply sila at kung qualified sila, pagbigyan ninyo. Yun lang ang ano dyan.
No, sir. Again, let me disabuse the mind of the good senator. There is no requirement that for purposes of processing, they will have to go through or they will have to make restitution.
Yun nga
Because it will
sinabi ni
still go
Boying
through
Remulla.
evaluation.
Sinasabi ko sa iyo, yun ang sinabi niya sa press conference niya. Sinabi niya yun eh. Alam mo, mag-a-apply lang eh, sinasabi ko. Kung ang restitution mangyayari at the end of, let's say, napakita talaga na meron silang pananagutan sa batas, later on, restitution is talagang kailangan. Pero nag-a-apply lang yung tao eh. Kaya nga, Witness Protection and Benefit Program. There is no reason to burden these people for another requisite which is not even in the law. So, kung qualified sila, i-process natin. Kung nag-qualify, salamat. Kung hindi sila nag-qualify, wala tayong magagawa.
Mr. Chair, it is not as if the reason why they are not being processed is because of the restitution that you mentioned. The fact is...
Prosek, ang sinasabi ko, hindi, yun ang naging unang dahilan kasi, kaya siguro nabanggel ito. Maraming procedures dyan. Kaya lang, ang sinasabi ko, ang pinipilit kong ipaintindi sa iyo, ay yun doon pa lang doon pa lang na-stop na eh, sapagkat pinilit ni Secretary Boying, mag-restitute ka muna. Ay sabi ko, nawala na.
Mr. Chair, kung ang gagustuhan po ng Diskaya couple is makonsider sila o ma-process sila, let's take away the aspect of restitution. But they have to comply first with the requirements, which is the submission of the affidavits to justify the department being able to evaluate the same. Let's not talk about...
Tapos na. Okay na yun. So wala nang restitution. Mr. Diskaya, Ms. Diskaya, kung talagang gusto nyo at kung gusto nyo mag-apply talaga, ayun, wala nang restitution, pero kailangan mag-qualify kayo. Kung hindi kayo qualified, wala tayong magagawa. Sinasabi pa po, while it may be a worthy endeavor to investigate the potential culpability of high government officials, including the President, in a given government transaction, it is simply not a task for the Senate to perform. The role of the legislature is to make laws, not to determine anyone's guilt of a crime or wrongdoing. Our Constitution has not bestowed upon the legislature the latter's role. Just as the judiciary cannot legislate, neither can the legislature adjudicate or prosecute. So the legislature remains to be an instrument for legislating laws. We cannot adjudicate, we cannot prosecute. Siguro po, alam na ninyo, Mr. Chair. Hindi ko po alam anong oras, but I think earlier hours, nagpadala yata former Congressman Zaldy Co a video recording. At dyan po ay napakarami niyang sinasabi na aligasyon, ngunit hindi po pwedeng hindi bigyan po ng atensyon. Nagpapatunay lamang po na lumawak na po talaga at lumalim ang pinag-uusapan nating problema. We cannot ignore that statement uploaded in the Facebook, Mr. Chair. So, kung ang tinatanong ni Senator Sherwin kanina na pinipilit na sinasagot ni Prosecutor Prosecutor General Padulyon, sino po ba yung pinoprosecute natin ngayon? Mga accessories or mga... Meron po bang mga pangalan na?
Yeah, may I respond, Mr. Chair? As I mentioned earlier, the ones who are being investigated right now are personalities from the DPWH, officials of District 1 of Bulacan. They are the ones subject of the initial investigations undertaken by the Department of Justice. There are also other investigations which are being evaluated now prior to its filing with the department and eventually with the Office of the Ombudsman, sir.
Kanina po tinatanong niya kayo, he quoted the President na meron ng makukulong, sabi ng Presidente.
Sir, I do not know and I cannot speak for the President. I do not know what's...
I'm not saying that you will speak for the President. Si Senator Sherwin nagsabi, narinig niya na may makukulong. At kailan ang sinabi? Kailan, parang ang sinabi niya marami nang makukulong immediately.
Exactly, Mr. Chair. That's why I said I cannot speak or know the state of mind of the President when those statements were made. I was not privy to it, and neither do I know what the details of which I can only speak of the cases being handled by the Department of Justice.
Hindi naman sasabihin ng Pangulo yun ang hindi niyo siya ina-advisean. The President will not state anything nang hindi niya nalalaman ang mangyayari. As a matter of fact, we assume that the Department of Justice might have advised him sapagkat hindi niya sasabihin ang kagaya ng sinasabi mo ngayon.
Yes, sir, but I cannot also make that assumption No, I cannot base my answer on an assumption which is being made if unless I was privy to the information that such advice was given to the president when he made that statement. I can only speak for what I know, sir, and what I have personal knowledge of.
So are you trying to assume that the president was ill-advised?
I'm not saying that the president was ill-advised. I just do not know who spoke to the president, sir, before he made that statement.
We're not saying that somebody spoke to the president. Senator Sherwin heard that the president was assuming that there will be somebody who will be jailed immediately.
Yes, sir. But your statement, Mr. Chair, is that you are of the assumption that the
I am
Department
not
of
assuming.
Justice made that statement.
I'm not assuming anything. We're saying that the president told that somebody will be jailed. Eh kasi kung halimbawa, preliminary investigation pa lang, atsahan kayo ng bola, pupunta kayo kasi di ba meron kayong, sabi nyo nung isang araw, sa briefing, meron kayong memorandum of agreement with the ombudsman that the DOJ can directly file cases to the Sandigan Bayan. What happens to that?
Sir, if we go over the memorandum of agreement simply says that we have the authority to investigate, and whatever the results are of our investigation, if it involves personalities with salary grade 27 and above, or cases cognizable by the Sandigan Bayan, and offenses committed in relation to the performance of one's function, the same will still have to go through the Office of the Ombudsman for approval before it gets filed before the Sandigan Bayan.
That wasn't the kind of explanation given to me in the earlier hearing.
Kindly wrap up. I'll give you 1 more minute.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chair. So, wala kang nakikitang immediately na makukulong, di ba?
Up until the results of the investigation are finished, I wouldn't be able to make any statement to that effect, sir.
Meaning to say, yes.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Senator.
Naging ebidensya, resibo kumbaga, kung ano ba, mailabas na niya, at least for the record na yan, habang inaantay ang legal na proseso na iba, attorney, tingin mo?
Opo, actually, kung ang kine-question po nila yung evidentiary value, kung gusto nilang sumpaan yan, pwede naman pong sumpaan yan. Natatawa ko na sinasabi na dapat daw siya pumunta sa notaryo dito at sumpaan yung kanyang statement. Hindi na po kailangan yon. Pwede po siyang manumpa sa isang foreign notary public at sa pamamagitan ng apostil, yun kanya pong sinumpaang salaysay provided that yung bansa kung saan niya ginawa yung kanyang panunumpa ay signatory doon sa Apostille Convention ng Hague, ay pwede na po yung gamitin dito. Number 2, pwede po tayong kumuha ng deposition or letters rogatory sa pamamagitan po ng commission. Ayan po ay medyo komplikadong bagay, kunit meron pong mekanismo kung saan po ikaw ay pwedeng pumunta sa isang foreign jurisdiction at kumuha ng mga ebidensya doon. So marami pong paraan kung gusto lamang ng ating pamahalaan at marami pong mga legal luminaries na alam yan. Ang problema, ayaw nila. Lagi nang sinasabi, bumalik ka rito, hindi naman po kailangan bumalik.
Opo. Doon naman po sa, di ko lang alam kung na-monitor nyo yung buo sa investigasyon po dyan sa Senate Blue Ribbon kanina po, attorney. Ano po yung basa po ninyo sa naging takbo ng investigasyon po kanina?
Marami po talagang question dyan lalong-lalo na sa pagbabalik ni Senator Lacson at obvious naman po, hindi lang naman po siguro ako nakakapansin na talagang may pinagtatakpan po itong si Senator Ping Lacson. Kaya lahat po ng ebidensya pointing to Romualdez and ultimately to the President, kanyang sinusuppress, dinidiscredit, pinahihirapan. So I'm sure hindi po yan nakatakas sa atensyon ng ating mga kababayan.
Opo.
Sa mga nangyayari sa bansa natin ngayon, wala tayong ibang kakapitan kundi ang Panginoon. Kaya panghawakan natin ang sinabi niya sa 2 Chronicles chapter 20 verse 15. Be not afraid or dismayed at this great multitude, for the battle is not yours but God's. Panghawakan natin to. Kailangan lang natin maging vigilant at mapagmasid at kailangan nating ma-educate kung ano yung mga karapatan natin. Yun lang guys. Thank you for watching.